So what's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again. So we're back to get back to music. If you get a chance, definitely check out my violence and hip hop and takeoff video that I just posted. So check that out definitely and tell me what you think. But back to music, and we're gonna start with where we're at in hip hop right now. Last week, we discussed Drake and 21 Savage, which was probably one of the biggest mainstream projects of the year, collab projects, if not mainstream projects of the year. But this year, we're going to shift gears to Hitboy and Nas. And yes, you know what I'm talking about. King's Disease 3, which was highly anticipated. In hip hop and music, definitely from the run that these two have went on, from being Grammy Award winners to Grammy nominated to getting high critical acclaim with their first three projects: King's Disease 1, 2, and 3. King's Disease 1, King's Disease 2, and Magic. So when Magic dropped, everybody said this was like the pinnacle, like they couldn't get any better than this. Then there was King's Disease 3 that was said to drop. And a lot of people, I would say people expected it to be good, but they say, oh, well, they couldn't top Magic. So it dropped on Friday, and here we are. So King's Disease 3, did this hit? Or did this miss? Did this live up to the expectations? So we're going to do what we do. We're going to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, and we're going to sum it up all in the end and see what this means for really hip-hop. So, King's Disease 3. Where do I start? What did I like? Off bat, production-wise. Hitboy right now is in a production zone that's unto his own right now. And the thing about Hitboy is that he can do the traditional 90s, 2000s style of East Coast hip hop, but he could add a trap or a drill element to it. He makes all of his beats entertaining. The beat switch ups, the change in beat cadence and flows. I mean, he just comes with it and he keeps you on your toes. I don't know a producer that has embodied this really since Kanye West. And he can make bangers. He just does it all, and he does it all on this album. I really love King's Disease 2 production, but this one right here is right in the same vein. Just to let you know, I listened to this 5 times already. So this is not just off a one-time listen, but the production is A1. Are there a few beats that are kind of down-tempo and slow? Yes. But that was more to fit the style of the song and fit really the lyricism that Nas was bringing on there. So let's get to the lyrics. I would say out of the 4 albums from the Hitboy and Nas collaboration, the 4 albums, this may be Nas's best lyrical production. As far as his lyrical energy, he's spitting on a lot of these records. Now, I know some people say Magic, but I'd say on this one, between the messages that he had and just the sheer lyrical creativity on some of these songs, and I think lyrically this is a little bit better than Magic. Some may disagree, but I mean, when you have 4 very good to great albums, you're going to get that disagreement. I think King's Disease 1 was lyrically their weakest, but this I think tops with what he's saying, the braggadocio, the one-liners, the double entendres. He's coming with it all on here. So lyrically, this is A+. Now features, This was a solo record. Nas did not have any features on here. And amazingly, I'm going to give the features an A. It's still hot. I think it's harder to hit the mark without features than with, because you want to bring an extra element of surprise. You want to bring an extra element of, oh, I want to hear how this artist sounds next to this guy who had a better track. But it was better because you focused more on Nas's lyrics as to what he was saying. It actually worked. And this is 17 tracks of all Nas. 17 tracks. Even Magic had ASAP Rocky on there, had really one feature on there. Didn't really have enough. But outside of, maybe a few background singing guys that weren't mentioned on here, it hit the mark. So the features were good. Track length, just right. 17, 16 with just about, with one bonus cut. I think the track length was pretty good. There were a couple of songs that, well, I'll get to that later. Could it be a little bit shorter? Maybe, but track length was pretty good. So, and then the cohesiveness of this. They're really, like, the thing about Hitboy and Nas, and what I like about Hitboy is they sequence the songs where even after there's a slow track, they always come back with a banger. And the one thing that I like is they always finish strong. Like, really, and I'll get to the tracks, but this album really finished strong with the last 3 to 4 cuts, I would say. And every one from King's Disease 1 to King's Disease 2 to Magic always finished out strong, where you were never bored. I look at hip-hop albums more like a movie now, where in movies, you're going to have some slow moments in the movie. You know what I mean? But the good thing about this album is that, and the good thing about Hitboy and Nas is there really aren't many slow moments in there. And if there is a slow moment, it picks right up. So I love the cohesiveness and of that. So what are the best tracks on here? I want to start with Thun. That was fire, where he took not a jab, a playful jab at Jay-Z, basically letting it out there. Listen, even though we support each other as brothers, we're still competing as the greatest. You know what I mean? So I love that. I love the energy on there. I think Michael and Quincy is a classic. That's a classic 9.5 out of 10 song. So I want to say that. Right to 30, which had some of that trap drill energy, which is just straight braggadocio, straight, which is kind of a takeoff of I think 27 Summers. I think this is the sequel to that. But it was great. It had a lot more of like a banger, if you will. Then I would say Hood to Hood, which is a smooth track, kind of, you know what I mean? Where he mentions, of course, they're killers all over, from QB to LA to wherever. I like that. And then I'd probably say some of the smooth joints on there. Like, I really fuck with the Reminisce song. That's a single. And I love at the end how it turns into like a smooth, like kind of radio-friendly track. And then it goes right into like a drill cadence at the end where Nas switches his flow up to kind of appease the drill generation, the younger generation. I really love that. That's like a 9 to 9.5. That's a definite single off of here. Even Recession Proof. That's still a hard banger right there. And then I'd probably have to say I'm on Fire, which he's coming with it. It's like a more of a traditional hip hop track. Nas is coming with a lot of real strong bars on there, and I would say I would definitely say what TF SMH, again, the beat switch up on there was great, and then another smooth track, which is Get Light, which I really it's just a smooth, like, smooth New York City flow. New York City, just, laid back, more of a summertime feel record that I really fuck with. And then again, they finish really, really strong. Beef is classic. Um Nas kind of takes that energy from the mid 90s, from I Gave You Power, and really embodies himself in what Beef is, who he is, and now he's in Beef, and basically talking about conflict. I think that's a classic track. And he mentioned some of his transgressions with Beef, and also other classic hip hop transgressions. And also, I would say Don't Shoot, which is another classic track, which basically talks about the hypocrisy in the youth. You know what I mean? What's it really? Okay, what you really about? You know what I mean? Which is kind of like a social political thing, but it also ties into the streets. And then, lastly, To My Last Breath, which at first I was like, I don't know if this really fits the scope of this album, but man, does Nas come with it? Just hard. I mean, he may have been his most aggressive on this, not lyrics wise, but just with his energy on here. So I think he really finished strong. So what I didn't like, there were a couple of songs that were kind of slow. Like, I'd say Once a Man, Twice a Child, I would say was kind of slow, but still I like the message about getting older. And I would say Serious Interlude. But again, Serious Interlude was still a great message because it was talking about being the other man in a relationship, which I kind of is a dope concept. So even though it's kind of slow, kind of down tempo, you still locked in. You're still listening. Like, okay, some men can relate to this. Which is a dope concept, definitely. So really, there's nothing weak on here. You know what I mean? So where are we gonna go? This has put them. Nas has put himself right back into the album of the year conversation, the top 5, the top 3. This is a 9 out of 10. I can't find much anything weak with it. And for the run, we're back to debating what's better, King's Disease 3, 2, or Magic. I think this is a step up from King's Disease 1, which is kind of like their first exposure to everything. This is the first time. And I think it took a while for us on King's Disease 1 to adjust to Nas over a Hitboy beat. But now they got it down pat. This is on its way, man. 9 out of 10. This is an album of the year contender. Now, I'm not going to go with the classic stuff yet, but I mean, who knows? And we'll talk more about the classics in my next video, where we're going to see where Nas and Hitboy stack up all time in hip hop. But this is right back in the conversation, and another video that I intend to do is, the great thing about this is this is the first year you have Nas on his A game. You have Kendrick Lamar on his A game with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And you really can have an open conversation now as to, okay, one GOAT versus another GOAT. Who's really the best? This is why I love 2021 was a very good year in hip hop. 2022 might turn out to be a great year in hip hop with all the quality work that's come out. But Nas injected himself right in the album of the year conversation, and these guys aren't losing any steam. They are not losing any steam whatsoever. This is um, a very, very good project, very entertaining project, and with no features too, which makes it even harder to really put out there. So I'm gonna go with about a 9 out of 10. It's up there this year. So I would say Nas, Pusha T, Kendrick are battling for it. Um, Freddie Gibbs is really come on strong. A lot of people are really getting Freddie in the conversation for album of the year. Um, I still think that Benny's up there as far as the best street album. So we really got a great conversation, but I think the album of the year conversation could go, like 7 deep. But we'll stay tuned for that because we're gonna talk about that. But definitely, King's Disease 3, they done it again. They did it again. Nas and Hitboy, the Supreme Team, has done it again, and they're not losing any steam. King's Disease 3, 9 out of 10. Definitely check this out. Check my video out when I post on Hip Hop Roundtable. Like, share, subscribe, and definitely add your comments. Where does this stack up to King's Disease 1, 2, or Magic? Where do you think? What's the order now? What was the best one? Does this have classic potential? Definitely let your comments be known on my YouTube channel. So check this out and enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday afternoon. All right, peace.